You know that friend who cancels again? The one who texts maybe next time so often it's basically their catchphrase? The one who was tired last week, under the weather the week before, and somehow always busy the moment plans get real? Here's what nobody tells you about that friend. They're not flaking. They're not avoiding you. They're protecting something quiet inside themselves that the rest of the world never quite learned to respect. And if you recognized yourself just now, good, keep watching, because you're about to feel understood in a way that doesn't happen very often. Today, we're diving deep into the psychology of people who genuinely love staying home, not the ones who settled for it, not the ones who gave up, the ones who light up at a canceled plan like they just won something. Society has a word for these people, boring, but psychology? Psychology has a very different take. Let's start with the basics, because this goes deeper than just being an introvert. Extroverts are powered by the outside world, the noise, the crowd, the energy of a room. That's their fuel. But for introverts and solitude seekers, every social interaction, even a genuinely enjoyable one, is quietly draining the battery. And home? Home is the only charger that fully works. Psychologists call this optimal arousal theory, the idea that people have different thresholds for how much stimulation they need to feel okay. Some people need more, some people need less. Neither is broken. It's simply how the nervous system is built. But here's where it gets more interesting, because it's not always about introversion. For a lot of people, home represents something the outside world almost never offers: control. Out there, everything is unpredictable. Loud strangers appear from nowhere. Plans shift without warning. Small talk happens with people who ask how you are but are already walking away before you answer. At home, you decide the lighting, you decide the noise level, you decide the entire atmosphere of your existence. For people with anxiety or high sensitivity, that's not a preference, that's a necessity. Now, here's the part that might surprise you. Research consistently shows that people who genuinely enjoy solitude tend to score higher in creativity, self-awareness, and complex problem-solving. The best ideas in history weren't born in crowded rooms full of cocktails and forced conversation. They came from quiet spaces, a still room, a long walk alone, a thought spiral at 2 in the morning that you absolutely should have let go of, but didn't. Staying home isn't doing nothing. It's doing something the world just can't see. And yet, society keeps selling us the opposite story. The influencers living loudly, the party pictures, the you only live once energy that implies if you weren't there, you missed something. But what if your best life looks like a long documentary, a bowl of something warm, and a night with zero obligations? What if that's not sad? What if that's just honest? What if that's you finally knowing yourself well enough to stop pretending? Here's where I want to slow down, though, because this conversation has two very different sides. Some people stay home because it fills them up, it restores them, inspires them, grounds them. But others stay home because leaving has started to feel too heavy, because anxiety turned into avoidance, because what began as a cozy Friday night quietly became every night, and the walls started feeling less like comfort and more like a boundary they stopped choosing. There's a real difference between peace and hiding, and if you're not sure which one you're living in, that question alone is worth sitting with. For those who truly love it, though, who live for the small rituals that most people rush straight past, the first sip of coffee before the day asks anything of you, the exact spot on the couch that has your shape in it now, the way late afternoon light moves across a familiar room. These aren't small things. These are the things a lot of people spend their whole lives too busy to notice. Psychologists call this low stimulation preference, and it's more common than the world makes it seem. These aren't people who couldn't handle the world. These are people whose inner world is rich enough that they don't need the outside one to fill the silence. They're wired for depth over noise, for presence over performance, for real rest instead of the kind that requires a recap the next morning. So if you're someone who turns down invitations without guilt, who finds a solo Saturday genuinely satisfying, who would rather revisit a show that already made you feel something than chase a night that might not, you're not broken, you're not behind, you're not missing out. You're just living on a different frequency. And this might be the first time someone said that like it was okay. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you stay home because it genuinely fills you up, or do you think somewhere underneath it all, we're just getting better at making peace with hiding? Drop your answer in the comments. I read more of them than I probably should, which honestly tracks.